This term covers a lot of different things these days. Most of you are probably thinking of things like Lion King, maybe Wall-E, maybe even Mickey Mouse. Some might think of those internet videos that have been popping up fairly often today that discuss complicated things about products, services, or messages. One example of these messages is the story of stuff, which talks about our culture's current fascination with consumption. However, I want to take a step back for a second and discuss a little bit about how animation got started. In the beginning, animators were drawing 12 pictures for every second of footage with a pencil and paper. It was all photographed and then assembled later. There's an iconic scene in Pinocchio, for example, that many of you may remember, with the big whale that swallows him up and then sneezes him back out. And there's tons of water detail in the scene, and every single wave and ripple and splash was hand-drawn by an animator who probably still dreams in ripples to this day. It's really amazing. I recommend that you all rewatch it at some point. They studied people, nature, and animals so closely that they could literally create the illusion of light before your eyes. It's amazing that animation ever existed, and now we can do pretty much all of this from the average household computer. Think about this. It used to require huge machines, entire floors worth of paper, and countless technicians just to make sure that it was all running smoothly. There's clearly never been a better time to be a part of this art form than now. However, there is a bit of a dark side to all of this, because as the main animation studios grew larger and larger, so did their desire to make profit. And instead of creating lasting, meaning, timeless stories, they were just trying to appeal to everyone, which is a very difficult thing. Imagine having a potluck in a place like Well, for example. There might be some vegans, maybe some people are paleo, maybe someone will eat raw food. It's going to be very difficult to cater to everyone's unique diet. And what they would do is just make one big pot for everyone and hope that everyone's happy. This isn't a very realistic solution, but luckily the individual artists that worked for these big studios, they didn't see things this way. Glenn Keane, for example, is probably the best animator that ever lived, actually, or is still living today. He had an acute eye for subtlety, and because of this he could create convincing realities. He doesn't see his animation as a way to make lots of money. He does it because he loves it. He's motivated by his passion to find the genuine performances in the characters that he draws. However, it's not just about drawing, it's about telling stories. And this theme is echoed again and again throughout many of the best artists in the world today. And there is no shortage of this passion. It has existed throughout the ages and was first expressed in the form of myths and legends. They used to provide the unifying stories for our cultures. But now, corporate marketers have kind of found ways to fill this role, which is a very dangerous thing, because their stories aren't motivated by things like knowledge or wisdom. They're based around surface-level insecurities and false realities that they create, such as the need to consume and get more and more things in our lives. This isn't a very lasting solution, but luckily, this era is coming to an end, as we're just completely oversaturated in ads, billboards, and media. And people just aren't believing these stories anymore. We're so sick of being shouted at by infomercials that I feel it's a great time for the writers, artists, animators, and all other creative types to reclaim their place as the dominant storytellers of our age. Yes, The Lost Thing, which proves my point here. It was made by a small team of artists, and it was adapted from a storybook by Sean Tan, my favorite illustrator. It's a great story about this man who finds this odd teapot-looking creature on a beach, and it looks like it doesn't belong, and so he takes this creature and helps it to find its place in the world. And by the time he does, he's gotten so attached to it, he has a hard time letting go. And it just really mirrors the reality of us watching people grow up before our eyes, and eventually having to allow them to continue on their own path without our guidance. It's a great story of acceptance and change, and it really just has so much more weight than the bulk of Hollywood blockbusters that are coming out today. And it's only 17 minutes long. This world that Sean Tan also creates is very full of these odd creatures in all different shapes and sizes, but no one notices them because they're just all too busy doing things, as he puts it. There are countless other tidbits of wisdom in this story, and although it's quite short, I feel like these are really the stories that we need to share. And thanks to the accessibility of things like the internet, there has never been a better or easier time to create and share stories with the world. And all this makes me wonder, who's going to create the new myths and legends to pass on to our future generations to warn them of our current societal struggles? Will there be a new Iliad or Odyssey, perhaps, discussing how we overcame our current economic problems? Or maybe how we stabilized our food system, or put an end to poverty or pollution even? I hope so. And I hope that through my passion for animation, I can be a part of this movement that is helping to change what stories are being told in this world. Thank you.